Thank you very much for joining me as usual. Please, after reading the caption of the broadcast, read the description of the broadcast as well. Okay, so that will kind of like get you into it. So you have an idea of, one after the other kind of topic, right? Then like the broadcast. That's to show that you are here. Do that first before you get settled. Hear it as well to invite your friends and invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them to join us. Maiyegun is live. So we are continuing from where we stopped yesterday. And that is also from like where we sort of like started about 2 days ago when the video of Wike's encounter with that lieutenant naval officer called Yerima. And to those of you who have been following the story, normally, right, it will probably have been counted as one of those horrible things created by people who have no respect for their own laws, right? However, it seems to have been like breeding something more, also about the animosity that majority of them actually harbor for themselves inside this illegitimate regime of Kolu. So Wike is considered as a black sheep in their midst, is an instrument being used to continue to decimate and then destroy his own political party. It's got nowhere to go to. However, he's living off the assurance and the insurance of Tifnumbu, something some people are beginning to feel uncomfortable with. No, maybe not now. Maybe it didn't start now. However, it's beginning to rear its head, where some are already calling for the removal of Wike. If like they are already filing that as part of their conditions, especially from northern Nigeria to start with. Right. So after that encounter with that officer, from what we gathered, the likes of Minister of Defense, his own Minister of State for Defense, they've both frowned at this, including other service chiefs as well. The current CTS. Though Wike granted an interview yesterday, and like Wike, we've not really seen like that for a very long time. It seemed to have been a little bit tamed based on God knows who probably spoke to him that made him to go and grant that press statement. Even though in his statement, he said he respects all these institutions and he was just carrying out his job, and he felt disrespected when government officials were assaulted. No record of anybody had been assaulted, all right? Wike is that bully that met another bigger bully. And in this instance, he's now kind of like crying for help. So in his press statement yesterday, Wike said people were complaining that he called the officer a fool. You are a fool. You are a fool. So the other ranking officers felt slighted because they were waiting for what would happen to Wike. Others are asking him to go and apologize. Why Wike was like, no, no apologizing. And if you are threatening me with this job, if you think it's about this appointment, right? Well, it can be taken like this. Chief Nobu should take it, but not like directly that way. Okay. So Wike has crossed the line. That's what Irabor said. This time around, the signal that Wike sent, if this is allowed to pass, the message Wike is sending to Nigerians is that nobody gives a damn about the military or the uniform. It didn't matter. It doesn't really matter whether the officer is a young man, old man. It doesn't matter. Once they are in that uniform, you as a public official yourself should respect that. So the military officers themselves, who also saw that video, from what I gathered, though, they themselves are now waiting for what their own senior chiefs would do. For instance, if the politicians will pressure them to punish the officer, then they will kind of like, lose interest or pass a vote of no confidence on their own leadership, which can also trigger mutiny. At the same time, Wike and Co also want to prove to everybody that it doesn't matter how they feel, they are not above the law. This is democracy. This is not military government. In this back and forth, behind the scene, those who seem to be really upset are quite really powerful too in this whole scheme. So to Irabor, right, using the opportunity of his own invitation to a program, I think yesterday. So Irabor was like, Wike was wrong. And his reasons are stated in what we are going to use as the opening tonight. While the rest of what Wike actually said will also be shared. Also other people's reactions and other stories too. So sit back, relax. Let's get started. So the first is Irabor.
Now, what is it? The uniform is not about who is wearing it. The uniform represents the authority of the state. Whether it's a small boy or not, it is the authority of the state. It's even worse when it is a commission officer who has a presidential commission. And so when you make such disparaging comments, you have desecrated the oath. You have desecrated the oath. What you have told the commander-in-chief and the authority that invested that position on him is that they are fools. So it is wrong. And I think that for the media, it is not about, in any case, law has two ends. For those, we also studied law. I'm not learned, but then in military law, we also taught that for you to be able to establish a crime, there are two elements: actus reus and mens rea. Actus reus, meaning that, was this thing done? Is there something that was done? And then the mens rea, what is the intention behind it? So when a son says that the minister has authority over land and it's not the duty of a soldier, that is not the issue. Now, if you have any reason to believe that what the young man is doing, there is a channel. That's the rule of law. So you desecrating the oath, it has not. So this is what you, the media, must try to highlight. I know that over the years, we have lost our educational traction. Civics that ought to be taught, these are things that primary school pupils, secondary school pupils ought to know, that even adults don't know anymore. The whole essence of contracts, all right, the compact that you have with the state, that every individual has ceded his rights to the state, is because of things like this. So that we will not, at April 29, take laws into our hand. It is not a jungle. So if the state has, designated certain establishment and they get them a uniform for you to be able to easily recognize them. Because today now, am I the CDS? I'm not CDS. Look at what I'm wearing. But assuming I was wearing uniform today, it's a different matter entirely. The officer that's in question, if you see him tomorrow wearing uniform, you wearing mufti, you will not see him. So what distinguishes the police, the military, and other agencies is the uniform. And so we should respect and honor the uniform. And that's what we should tell our children. That every Nigerian, when you see them, are they doing what is right? They may not be doing what is right. But then it is not your duty to now lay your hands on them. So otherwise, we're in a jungle. That's exactly what's happening. That counter-terrorism has become a ding-dong thing. If you go to social media, nobody knows what is right and what is wrong. What was done with good intention is misinterpreted because of sins like that. And that's why I thought that since we're talking about media, terrorism, and national security, addressing the complexities, this is a part and parcel of the complexities that will give a wrong impression to those. Tomorrow, people will now think that when you see a military man, you should slap him. It's a jungle. Even police, why will you do that to a policeman? Me, as a general, I can't slap my soldier. I can't touch him. I can't use my hand on him. If I do that, either I apologize to him or I will be disciplined. The same thing, across the world, don't you see, even when police is brutalizing a citizen in US, trying to strangle, other people around, do they go to hold him? No. Because they respect the uniform. But is he misusing the uniform? Yes. Will he be dead to it? Yes. So let us get the distinction. I thought that it would be a good opportunity to see. So as I conclude, what I need us to take away is that we were reminded yesterday that as editors of the media, we are the last man standing. But then, because we are dealing with national security issues, you as last man standing, you do not have the sword to protect you. So if the first man, the second man, and third man are all dead, what becomes of you? So no.
It's a jungle, isn't it? So he says something about like, if this is allowed to continue, right? So Nigeria is just going to be like a jungle. Like, if we have to use that word, right? Is Nigeria not like a jungle already? Or is Nigeria not a jungle already? We have countless videos, number of videos on the internet to show to us that a broken system being operated in Nigeria today, like the one you currently experiencing, is like when government, supposedly, right, supposed government, giving guns to known criminals by putting uniforms on them. We have seen soldiers beat up a policeman on the street, of course. We have seen policemen brutalize the citizens, like, and of course, people actually respect the uniform. I mean, it takes a lot for people to actually really attack the police or the soldiers. Because in Nigeria, right, if you touch a soldier, this same person that just spoke there, right, and is in the office, if you touch one soldier in your area, even the innocent in your area will pay. They will become so lawless, brutalize everybody, do all the evil things that, ordinarily, by law, they should end up in jail themselves. And the civilians will say, now, Nakosa, why did you go and beat a soldier? Why did you go and touch a soldier? So we do, but the only thing is that the criminal politicians, as well as the rotten elites in Nigeria, who always love to exhume this ego, power drunk, and flex, other stuff. There are those who have the audacity to slap a policeman, slap a soldier, right? Like Wike attempted, but he didn't. He called him a fool. So Irabor shouldn't worry about us. They should worry more about themselves, the elite, as well as the people they gave gun to, called soldiers. Because their job, if all of us are being honest, like constitutionally, their job is to protect you and I, protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. That's their job. If any politician or any government begins to compromise that, it is also the duty of these soldiers as trained to topple such governments, because what they are doing is now in contrast to the mandate of the soldiers. Like what you have today, you can easily tell your military is broken. Territorial integrity of Nigeria has been invaded. So there is nothing sacred or sovereign about Nigeria in this sense. Nigeria military has failed Nigeria and Nigerians. That one is on record. We have more soldiers guiding the properties of politicians and elites. We have more soldiers doing that than soldiers fighting terrorists in Nigeria. You have more policemen providing private guard or security for the big men, the elite, the politicians, extended to their own family members as well, than the numbers of policemen available to curb crimes in the society. So that is the society they have. So you shouldn't worry about us. It's about them. the elite who have the opportunity to run a country that should be in the interest of every one of us, but they bungled it. They looted the whole place, mismanaged it enough that right now it is from one problem to the other. So yeah, politicians, I won't even be so rich enough to want to have an encounter with a soldier, like I said. But Wike is also a minister. So for those of you who believes that Wike is right, no, you are wrong. He's not right. And then to those who believes that the young soldier who at this encounter, let's even leave the young soldier now, like he's following an order. Somebody direct ordered them to be there. So who ordered them? Their own senior colleagues who are also members of the elite club of Nigeria, the ruling class. So they pulled these soldiers, right, and mounted them as a private guard against the supposed authority of the city, who they also believe that the guy in charge of this authority is abusing the same power. And if nobody is going to stop him, right, then it will just have to be legality versus illegality. This is what is playing out here. And I don't really want to go into details anymore because if you have been following this story, a soldier, a retired naval officer or senior naval officer, retired, bought land in Abuja and started developing the land. Wike said he didn't give them the approval. And they are telling Wike that they've got all the approvals, except the one you refuse to issue. Now that you are interested in the land, you want to steal the land. All the nonsense you have been doing all over Abuja and all of that with your media and all of that, you're pulling out. You won't put that stunt here. Okay? We won't let you demolish our property and then go to court and begin to chase you. No, we won't do that. So it is like, we believe that you are not following the law properly. Rather, you are manipulating it to your own advantage. So I won't let you do that. So this is the confrontation, illegality versus illegality. However, the soldier received a very much clarified order to go and stay in that place because it is Nigeria. They could put them from their barracks and say they should go and provide security for the wife of the general. Yeah. They provide security for wife of generals, their children, and all of that stuff, Soldiers will be mounted. They'll be opening doors. They'll be like guiding gates, guiding buildings, and all of that. Buildings and houses that some of these politicians even barely visit. They still have soldiers there guarding them for them. It's privilege, they call it. It's privilege of being an elite in that contraption. So the soldier was called in there. So a lawful order was given to him. Wike shouldn't be there physically. That's where he's wrong. You get me now? Even with all the abracadabra land grabbing he's doing, like he shouldn't even be there physically. But because Wike is also a thug, yeah, he is. So to him, right, he believes that his presence actually really probably scares people. I don't know. Because he is not an enforcer, he's a minister. There are many people under that his office whose job is to deal with situation like that. Yeah, because Wike is a government as well, right? The people who is kind of dragging with are also pulling the levers of power. So that's where Wike was wrong. The fact that, according to the report, right, Wike asked the current CDS, okay, that so thing was going on. And they would want him to intervene. And that one said, okay, yeah, I worked on it. Just hang on, I worked on it. Wike waited for maybe half an hour. He didn't get any response from the CDS. What did he do? He jumped straight into his convoy. If you see that convoy, by the way, Wike's convoy be like presidential convoy. He's got dispatch riders. Yeah, 4 bikes, like 4 bike men, dispatch riders doing wow in front of him. Then the convoy. But that didn't kind of like intimidated the soldier, right? So Wike, part of his own media sort of like media press, whatever, yesterday, right, was that some people are trying to possibly get rid of him simply because he is doing a stellar job. He's doing a wonderful job, and some people feels like they are too powerful